Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the office. Welcome to the morning grind. I hope you are doing well today. I hope that you had a great weekend. I hope that it was productive or creative or relaxing or whatever you needed it to be. I was working on, well, mainly admin stuff. Didn't quite get done with all of that. Well, more than didn't quite. But there's still quite a bit more to do on that side. But I'm going to be working through it some more today and trying to get stuff done. Although I did also have some fun. I played, we were playing some video games while on the grind yesterday. And then I also went back and I played a little bit of Xanadu last night. Because after playing Guardian Legend, I was like, I need to play Xanadu. One day, I think what we're going to do is we played Xanadu on this stream before. I think I want to try to beat it in an entire day or just one day. So I think that one day a morning grind is going to be a Xanadu stream where I just start and then we just try to beat the entire game all day. So let's see. Who is here? Let's see. Good morning, Stray. Good morning, Rogue Thinker. Good morning, James. And Lynn. Good morning, Lynn. Lynn is back. Good to see you. Rogue Thinker says, I'm unfamiliar with Worlds Without Number. Is it its own system? I am too. I'm unfamiliar with it as well. It kind of looked like it. People were talking about this one in the context of the West Marches style games, which is still something I'm interested in. And so we're going to find out. It kind of looked like it, though. I originally thought that it was some type of a system for generating worlds and like stars without numbers, universes or planets or things like that. But it looks like it is some kind of system. Good morning, Tomocrat, one of our channel members. Thank you to all of the channel members who are here. Brett says, happy Monday. It's going to be 107 degrees on Wednesday. It's not quite that here, but it feels like it. It's not quite, though. I'm looking forward to getting over August. August is always brutal here. And we're right in the middle of it. Good morning, Wild Barley. Good morning, friends. Got my promotion paperwork done, so I'm feeling good this Monday. Well, here's a drink to you. Here, let's go. Let's all take a sip for Wild Barley. Promotion paperwork done. Congratulations. Here, Stray's posted a link to the Discord server. I was going through the Discord server yesterday as well. Brett says, so is poor Steve truly eaten in season 2, or is it not what it seems? Well, I guess we'll have to find out. He's talking about the cultists, season 2 for the cultists. Well, what happened to Steve? I really enjoyed playing Steve on the cultists. Who knows? We'll have to come up with some other way to. Who knows? I don't know if we're going to be able to do season 3 or not. Good morning, BGD. And Zero the Blade. All right, let's go ahead and breathe and sip. I've got Cultist coffee mug out today. One of my favorites. It's got the iced coffee in it. So let's go ahead and breathe and sip. 2 deep breaths in, complete exhales, and then take a sip of our favorite beverage. So here we go. Sip, breathe. And sip. And there we go. All right. Let's see. The first thing, let's see, I'll point out the Ravenkeep online store. If you want to click over to ravenkeep.net, over at ravenkeep.net, we've got, let me bring this up here. I put, this was like on, was it Saturday that I started this or something like that? So I've got some things in the warehouse that I need to move out. So what I've done is I've put basically everything on the website, all the physical items on the website at 50% off. So I've been, people have been coming by and picking things up. There's only what this Witch's Brew coffee is actually sold out. The Cultist coffee, there is just one more bag of Cultist coffee that can go out. And then also War of Kings board games. If you've been watching the Morning Grind, the War of Kings board game and Enchantress are 2 of the board games that I created. And there are, I believe, 3 or 4 of those boxes each left that are sitting over there. And they are also half off. So if you would like a Witch's Brew mug, a Cultist coffee mug, War of Kings, or Enchantress, now is the time to get it. Also the Battle Pack, which is stand-up terrain for your table, trees, ruins, all different kinds of things that are accessories for your table. Now would be a great time to go ahead and get them. We've got also the dice trays. These are handmade dice trays. They're the perfect rolling surfaces. I designed them and built them out in the workshop. The Yogg-Sothoth Knows the Gate dice tray. I mean, look at that one. The wizard here is fantastic. We still have some Yogg-Sothoth Is the Gate as well. A few of those, probably. Okay, there's still a few Yogg-Sothoth Is the Gate remaining. So if you want one of these, also the Starspawn monster, they're play mats. They're made out of play mats. They've got additional foam underneath the play mats. They're really the perfect rolling surface. I use them. I've got a stack of them in my gaming room, and I also use them when we play dinner in a board game. The dice bounce very well on that rolling surface. And then you also get the clatter of the dice because there are wooden edges around the dice tray. So if you would like, come by ravenkeep.net. Also, my line of 10mm miniatures is also there. Dismounted Imperial Knight sold out. I need to, I'll remove that one. But so if you would like any of those, there are more of those as well. And everything ships free for orders of $99 or more. So if you would like one and you would like any of this and you'd like to get it before it sells out, now is the perfect time to get it. And I'll be happy to ship it right out to you. All right. let's see. Oh, I didn't hit enter on ravenkeep.net. There we go. So that's going on there. Let me show you. Now, let's see. There's also over in the Discord server for News for the Grind. See, one of the things that's going on is the Rune Jammer. I know a lot of us are interested in what's going on with Runehammer and the index card RPG community. So this is RPG community content. Prepare yourself for Rune Jammer 2023. So they're hosting an online convention. So if you want to play games, if you want to get into or try out the index card RPG, the hit independent role-playing game system from Runehammer Games, enjoys vigorous growth and has a devoted following. Now 2 years after the release of its definitive Master Edition. So in celebration of this anniversary, Runehammer fan community invites you to join an unprecedented online gaming event, Rune Jammer 2023, an entire week of RPG play opportunities and live workshops, and over 50 game sessions offered by our fantastic community contributors. It is our sincere pleasure to feature EZD6 creator and tabletop gaming legend DM Scotty as a special guest GM for a number of Rune Jammer sessions. Let me make sure that I post this link to Rune Jammer in the comment section. So this is August 24th through 30th. Let me increase this size so you can read it as well. So Rune Jammer 2023 welcomes complete newcomers to the RPG hobby, as well as gamers of any experience levels who wants to discover ICRPG's fast, flexible system. And it features all 5 adventure settings in its Master Edition: Alfheim, Warp Shell, Ghost Mountain, Blood and Snow, and Vigilante City, offering a wide variety of unique role-playing adventures presented in the Runehammer way. Join us online from August 24th to 30th for some truly exciting gaming experiences offered around the clock. Session participation and system quick start rules are completely free of charge. You'll see why ICRPG has earned its reputation as an easy-to-learn, easy-to-run alternative engine for your RPG fun. So, we're looking for 6 shooters. If you're looking for swords, 6 shooters, stun guns, this is the place to be. So join the ICRPG community Discord. So it says this is a fan-based collective initiative. So here is the schedule. So you can see they've got tons of stuff going on. And games that you can sign up for and all of this. So this is going on. There's a ton of stuff here. This is in Central Time. Oh, my time zone. So all of this going on. So if you're interested in getting in some online gaming or going to an online convention, maybe you didn't make it to Gen Con, the Rune Jammer looks like the thing to do. Let me take this down. See what's going on over here. So Tomocrat says Worlds Without Number is a very open-ended game system. Oh, thank you for posting that. Yeah, thank you, Stray. Good morning, Andrew. And PH. Oh, my Rune said there was an error and my Rune Jammer comment didn't post. I'm having trouble. Oh, there we go. I think that did it. BGD says, BGD says, thank you for helping us get the word out about Rune Jammer. BGD is the one who let me know about it. We are excited. Everything is free, and there are still seats available for nearly around-the-clock gaming. We hope to see everybody there. So, and go and play. So BGD is going to be there. Go and play with him. And then also, PGD says, P.S. Watch the schedule for last-minute game additions right up until game day. So, good morning, everybody. That was Division. That was Vision says good morning. Good morning, Vision. Steel Mongoose. I'm not sure what all the different types of. Okay, so BGD does confirm down here that all you need is a Discord account. So many of us have that. Good morning, Brett and Kronos Chiron. Okay, so that is going on. Let me show you one of the things that I was working on, because I'm still also trying to come up with a way for us to be able to play online games. It's one of the several different projects in different stages of development that I've been working on. Let me find the right window here. I've been trying to come up with some way trying to do some kind of open house, particularly for the channel members or something like that, for the past like 2 weeks, but it just hasn't happened. Where is the correct window? But hopefully it will soon. Let's see. I got so many windows open on my computer. I thought I fixed that yesterday, but maybe not so much. Oh, right here. Here it is. So, I was working on a digital werewolf, and I basically got that one done. Digital one-night werewolf game, and I think that would be fun for a lot of people, and we tried that out. But one of the other things, I would also, as far as card games go, I need to get my scanner out because It's Not My Fault, I think, would be fun to do. But I was also working and worked on this a bit yesterday on an online, like a virtual tabletop for HeroQuest. And basically, I was thinking about this for two different reasons. First is something that could be played inside of the virtual coffee shop that we have experimented with here. So this would be an easy or potentially an easy way to play HeroQuest, because I've been enjoying playing cards.io. It has its limitations. There are limitations on it. But we looked at playingcards.io, it's the virtual tabletop interface before. It's got its limitations, of course, but it's lightweight. But nonetheless, it does a lot of stuff, and it allows for a lot of customization. So you're able to build some stuff out in it. I was able to build out the One Night Werewolf card game in it, and that was pretty simple with just very simple components. And so I got that built out. But then I was like, no, wait a minute. Can I do something more complicated? Like, can I build out a virtual HeroQuest? And so I started that. I got the board in here. One thing that I started doing and then I realized wasn't working was I started putting in monster tokens. So my problem is, though, that you can't really see the monster tokens very well. Now, I've got it. One of the things that does allow is for you to hover over something and it to increase. So if you're like, no, wait a minute, what is it that is standing next to me? You can go in and take a look at it in, or zoom in on it will zoom in on the token when you flip over it, which is great, except for I still want them more recognizable on the screen. Because you can't now see, one of the limitations is I can't zoom in. So you're seeing the entire board like this, like zoom in just to the board. Like I said, you can do this type of thing here, but you can't just zoom into the board. It would be nice if I could, like, oh, we're focusing on this room over here. Let me zoom into this room. That's not functionality that we have. That kind of sucks, but that's just one of the, nothing is perfect. Nothing's perfect. So in that case, what I need is higher visibility tokens. And so last night, what I was working on were these skeletons. So instead of having the realistic kind of, I don't know, or pencil drawing kind of look for the monsters, I said, well, what we need then is more stylization here. Because over here, if I put this skeleton over here, now I think even on my screen, like I think even communicating across YouTube, you can tell that's a skeleton. But when I'm sitting over here, I can really easily tell that that's a skeleton, much more so than the other pieces that we've got here. So the skeleton, that works. So I'm working on, I did a lot of work trying to come up with, get all these tokens ready for the pencil drawing kinds of tokens, because they do kind of look pretty cool, except for they're not visible enough. And then also, like with this gray background, you can still zoom in. You go, oh, what is this? Oh, it's a skeleton. But the gray background lets you know that it's undead, and that's better. So there needs to be the gray and the green for goblins and things like that, so you know what is around a little bit more. So I think that's going to work. So I got to work on some more tokens. There's a lot of things to build out here in HeroQuest. So I'm working on the monster tokens right now. I guess it'll require scanning some cards. I could type in all of the cards. I've noticed this works better with things like SVGs if you're trying to build something out in playingcards.io. It kind of works best with SVGs because they're lightweight. I mean, obviously, they don't have the file size on them. And so I can do that is a benefit of like this. This is an SVG that's in there, whereas this is, I guess it was a JPEG. So those have got to go. I got the different, so there needs to be a space for 5 players in here. So 4 players plus is Argon. I got counters over here. I got to align these, but also I wanted to, if possible, put counters over here. So it does look like that's possible for each player's body points and mind points. So that can all be tracked on the table rather than having to also track it in person in physically. So actually, and another reason that I wanted that, if you're just sitting here playing, well, tracking body points and tracking mind points, that's not such a big deal. But I was also thinking about this in the context of dinner and a board game, because one of the administrative things that I've been doing is shuffling around different YouTube videos. I've been jamming up my entire internet, trying to shuffle YouTube videos to different channels. Because I am opening a dedicated table talk channel and a dedicated dinner and a board game channel. That way people can find those specifically. If they're just interested in those, right, it's still going to be streaming on this channel as well, at least for any foreseeable future. But that way, if people just want dinner and a board game, they can just find dinner and a board game. But I think that one of the things that's great about dinner and board game, actually, I was having a conversation with Brett about this, is the interaction with people. And I really wanted to do dinner and a board game originally with people, but I said that I don't see it as possible. It's such a big deal to have people come down to my house, the dungeon gaming room, and shoot. And that's just a bigger operation. So I was experimenting. We did basically actually finish a 2nd season. So actually, I didn't realize that last time, I believe, was the 20th episode of the season. Or the 20th episode overall. I'm not exactly sure what number that is, because some of the first episodes are broken across 2 and sometimes 3 different games are broken across 3 different episodes. I'm thinking about just numbering them anyway now instead of having dedicated seasons, but especially if we do it online. But I was thinking that, yeah, we could bring more people online. We could bring people back to the gaming table, and it wouldn't just be solo play. I wanted to play the solo HeroQuest. But they wouldn't just be solo play if there was some way to play dinner and a board game online live. And then also we don't have the post-production. We could just sit down and we could play live. And so this is what I was building out. And I was thinking this could also serve as a platform for playing HeroQuest live during dinner and a board game. So there's still a lot to build out, but I'm kind of thinking about that as well. And that's where these counters come in, because it was requested that wouldn't it be great if you could actually see the player's status on the screen. And actually, we came up with a way to do that when I was playing solo. Pretty easy way to do that through OBS. But also here, well, here we could just track for all the different players, whatever they are. So like right here, this could be, if I'm playing, Heath, maybe I'm playing the Barbarian. That way you'd know that I'm playing the Barbarian here. I think you can put something up there. Maybe for, I don't know. We have to figure out how we're going to do it. I don't know. But anyway, if I'm Heath, I'm playing the Barbarian, and then I think I've got mind points too. So then I could just track that. And so not only am I tracking that live, on the website, but also that means that it would be being broadcast, and that way anybody anytime could check in and see exactly what the body point and mind point situation is. And it would also track cards. Now, I don't know how useful it is to tell how many cards we have in people's hands for the purposes of HeroQuest, but this allows people to bring different cards into their hands as well. So I'm kind of excited about this. I got slowed down because I did all this token work and then realized, it's not visible. Visibility is also very important if it's something that's going to be streamed and broadcast. You want people to understand what the tactical situation here is. But like, for instance, I got the doors here. So the doors are pretty cool because you can put the doors over here. So drop a door right there. And so now you can see there's a door there. And then when you click it, it flips over and that opens it up. So now there's, the black is open, the brown is closed. So we found a great way to have both open and closed doors here. And then also, if you want to, you can swap it around. And I have it so that it only, as if you're trying to put out a door, and let's say the door needs to go right here. Well, you can rotate this 90 degrees, and it's only going to let you rotate it 90 degrees. So you can't rotate it 18 degrees and get the board all wonky or whatever, but you can rotate it, and then if you rotate it, it will sink back into, not rotating 90 degrees each time. So I've been playing with that. I think this is an interesting way to go. Over here, I got the dice loaded up too. So if you move, that way you can also see what people are rolling on the dice, especially for the purpose so if some people may want to roll physically. If you're just playing this, in the coffee shop or whatever, you can roll physical dice. I like rolling physical dice, but it is fun. Some people are concerned about cheating, and so it'd be nice if the roll were done on screen, or just that way everybody can see it, and especially if you're streaming, everybody can see it. So we do have dice over here. When you click move, let's see. Oh, did I do something wrong over there? So when you click these dice, you can roll the dice for your movement. When you click move, maybe I don't have that hooked up yet. When you click move, I wanted it to automatically roll both of those dice. I'll have to check that. That way you should just be able to click move, because you can automate actions in playingcards.io, which is nice. So if you click on move, what I want to happen is for both of those dice to roll. But then down here, we've got all of the combat dice as well. I put a line here so we have like attackers dice and defenders dice or something like that. It's more difficult to automate the number that you're supposed to roll, because people can roll different attack dice, numbers of attack dice and defense dice in a whole bunch of different situations. So I think the best thing to do is just to let people, if you've got 3 attack dice, just click the top 3. So if you're rolling 3 attack dice, 1, 2, 3, okay, 2 skulls. And then if Zargon's defending with 2, Zargon defends down here. Oh, no defense. So this is kind of cool, I think. Maybe I'll look at the comments. Everybody's saying they hate it. But it's so, you can build this thing out. I've seen people building out like HeroQuest in Tabletop Simulator. And that looks pretty cool. So, one thing you could ask is, well, why bother building this out inside something like playingcards.io when you've got something that could be like 3D on Tabletop Simulator, which is really nice. And it is. But one, we can't integrate Tabletop Simulator with the virtual coffee shop. They're only, we can bring up, we're working with the limitations of several different platforms here. So now you could use it separately, of course. Like you would talk to people in the virtual coffee shop. And then if you want to bring up virtual Tabletop Simulator, you totally could do that in another window, right? But they don't integrate into one another. So I was looking for a solution that integrated inside one another, and playingcards.io and also a couple of the other lighter weight tabletop simulators do. But then also I'm thinking about streaming. So, one of the issues, I want people to be able to see the board because I'm thinking about both of these things. I'm thinking about streaming here. So if this is being streamed on Dinner and a Board Game, then I need to be able to easily have a window that can stream out, obviously, but that also it needs to be basically a God's eye view of the table. Because if you're playing Tabletop Simulator, it seems like to me, if I'm playing it, then I'm looking at what I'm looking at as far as the board goes from my player's perspective, and somebody else is looking at it from their perspective. But if somebody's watching the stream, they want to be looking at the board from a God's eye perspective and what's going on and being able to see what everybody's doing. So it seems to me like then, if you got the technical issues of everything around with Dinner and a Board, with streaming the Tabletop Simulator and such figured out, you would still have the issue that, well, now which one of the windows of the Tabletop Simulator are you trying to stream? because you would always be looking at it from a single player's perspective. You wouldn't actually have it seems like you would need to have a cameraman then. There'd be somebody else sitting at the table who's going to be the cameraman, but that requires an extra person. Like that person's perspective on the board, their job is to actually be the cameraman and, move over here and zoom out and then zoom in or whatever and make sure that they are the eyes for the audience. That seems complicated. So we need a God's eye view that allows everybody who's watching to actually see what's going on the board. So this is a complicated build. That doing something like It's Not My Fault is a simpler build because it's also cards. But I was trying, this is kind of pushing. This is kind of pushing what it can do. But if I'm playing Zargon as well, so it seems like everything's going to need to be laid out kind of on the board, but it doesn't have to stay that way. We'll probably put the treasure cards over here, magic cards and things like that. So there'll be cards that are laid out, but they'll need to get off the board. They can be picked up by different players. Like the magic cards will be picked up by different players. Zargon can pick up different things. Like Zargon can even, if the monsters didn't want to be out on the board, if I'm playing Zargon, I can put the monsters down here in my hand. Let's see. That's interesting. So there we go. So I could take them down. I could put a bunch of monsters down here in my hand and the cards down here, and that would also clean up the board. So it'd all be laying there when you start the game, but then players can pick up things and put things down here in their hand to kind of clean up the look of the board. So I'm excited about that. That's taking a bit of time, but that's kind of what I'm thinking about. And then maybe run an experiment with something like Dinner and a Board Game. Well, I want to experiment inside the virtual coffee shop as well, but then also run an experiment with Dinner and a Board Game and see if we can't get people back involved, get multiple players back involved in Dinner and a Board Game in kind of a live streaming situation. I think that'd be fun. I have faith in that show. Let's see what people are saying here. Good morning, Retro Nerd Girl. Oh, Brett says, love that board. Vision says, perhaps a brightly colored border. Yeah, I think you're talking about here on these pieces. And I thought, there is a border on that guy, but and also on this guy right here. But I realized that once it gets put on this board here, you don't really see that. Something like the colored border background works better for this skeleton. That's much more visible. Daniel says there's a site that has all the cards out there. There probably is. So that might keep me from having to scan them. So both. Yeah, so I think I answered that, Brett. So it's both. Both online coffee shop play potentially and Dinner and a Board Game. That guy in the sky says, hi all, this looks really cool. And oh, great news for Dinner and a Board Game. So see, people tend to be liking this. Oh, Brett says, loving what I'm hearing. I'm glad, Brett. I'm glad. Brett sent me a bunch of ideas for Dinner and a Board Game through email. And so he and I was glad to get those. Well, that guy in the sky, imagine if members could log in and play online with you, Heath. Well, see that it's slow developing. There's so many projects that I've got in development. I feel like, oh, we're doing something that, oh, it's not quite right, so I have to go back and try again. But that would be kind of what I would like. I mean, that's kind of like where I was trying to go with the online coffee shop. That channel members, I could hand those out to channel members or to other people as well. But have channel members days instead of. We can do the online chat. I mean, the members only live streams and things like that too. But it would be neat if we all had a place to log into and then we could all hang out, do whatever, but also potentially play games. There's a lot of games. What is the other service? There's a there's an online, not online, open source. There's an open source version of playingcards.io. And I've been using playingcards.io, but there is another one that has a whole bunch of other board games built out that does integrate pretty well. I mean, even simple things like Boggle. I mean, I enjoy playing Boggle. I used to play Boggle a lot, actually, with the family. But Stratego, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's actually been built out already for the open source. Is that table? Hang on. Table. Is it tabletop.io? No. That one doesn't go anywhere. Anyway, there I'll have to think of it. But there's an open source version as well that I did integrate with the coffee shop. That already has a bunch of games built out. And that's fun. I kind of like the interface of playingcards.io better, but the files that they read are supposedly the same. So the open source version of playingcards.io also accepts the files, like the file that would load HeroQuest. I haven't tried it yet, but supposedly it accepts the same type of file, which would be nice. Yeah, I noticed we had 24 people watching. This is a very popular channel, so please remember to like and sub. Please do. I would love to have you. Cronus Kyron says, question, would you like me to show you some Unreal Engine dev packs that could be used to make stuff like this and have it hosted so members can do as you say? Well, maybe. I tried experimenting with Unreal Engine at some point, and I know see, one of my issues is that like I can always think of what the most complicated thing to do is. Like, what's the most we can do? I think this is one of the situations where what's the most we can do? Well, we can always think of the most we can do. I don't know anything about Unreal Engine. You might. So that might be the case that, if you know Unreal Engine, then you can do all kinds of things like that. Trepelia open source is mainly for Risk-like wargaming. Unreal Engine, I have a lot of stuff, and I mean a lot. Yeah, so maybe I like there probably is some type of way to build out something like that that's like mega cool and 3D and takes advantage of everything like Unreal Engine and things like that. But one of the things that I liked about playingcards.io is that it was using the kind of minimalist perspective on this. That's, well, what's the least I can do? What's the least I can do to get this operational and have people playing and enjoying themselves? Because some of you may not have seen the One Night Werewolf. I'll show you the finished one. But it's very much the minimalist kind of thing from the perspective of what's the least we can do that actually gets things working. And I always like that perspective because we can always think about what the most we can do is. But like, for instance, here is a game set up for One Night Werewolf. And it's very simple. It's very simple, but it completely works. And according to, and we even solved the problem with how are people supposed to look? How are people supposed to look at each other if they don't have video cameras? I think this game is best played if everybody has a video camera so that you can at least see something about people's motion, and body language. But in the event that you don't have that, when the werewolves are supposed to wake up or the masons are supposed to wake up, we ran into the problem that how do people who don't have cameras recognize that they're awake and recognize other people? Well, one way that you can do that is I put these eyeball tokens on here. So if you're awake and you need to signal to the other werewolves, you can click the I'm awake button, or the other masons. I think it's both the masons and the werewolves that have to know each other. You can wake up and you can say I'm awake, and then when you close your eyes again, you just turn that off again. So that was Sable's addition or recommendation. Totally works. So One Night Werewolf is built out. This is for 10 people, and it would be fun to run a One Night Werewolf. We experimented this on the Morning Grind, and I think that running a One Night Werewolf online tournament like this would be cool. But like, it's very lightweight. So in a way, it's what is the least you can possibly do. But that means that it got done and now it's completely playable and people could have fun with it. That guy in the sky says, Heath, do you have the HeroQuest Mythic tier pack? Just curious. I do not, because I did not back any of the new HeroQuest when it came out. And that's because I already had my boxes. My boxes from as a kid. I have the original HeroQuest that I got on Christmas Day when the year it was released. So I have the original HeroQuest. I had the original Kalar's Keep, and I have the original Return of the Witch Lord. And so there was no reason for me to rebuy it. I was completely ready. I was completely ready to buy a new HeroQuest. I was like, oh my God, HeroQuest is coming out. And then I realized it was just a re-release. And I was like, but I've got all my stuff. And I even bought a second HeroQuest box just in case something happened to some of the components so that we would always have it, because it's been played with a lot here. So the only new releases that I've got now are the HeroQuest, the Barbarian and Elf Quest pack, because I never had those as a kid. So I bought the new release of those, and now also Rise the Dread Moon. So that's all I've got. We did find out that the new HeroQuest has slightly different size board and also different size cards. So maybe one day, like, how many boxes of HeroQuest do you really need? But maybe one day I'll buy the new release of the game system just to have the new size of the cards and size board. That way it matches up with all of the new releases boxes, but we'll see. All right, so that's what I'm thinking there. Let's take a look. Let's take a quick look at Worlds Without Number, because one of the other things, I mean, this all kind of goes together, because one of the things that we had been thinking about, or one of the reasons that World Without Number had come up, is because we'd been thinking about a West Marches style game, and I think it would also be fun to have a West Marches style game running in the virtual tabletop, virtual coffee shop as well. Have people sit down and play West Marches. So we were talking about what different rule systems to use and things like that. And it seems like I'm partial to either Dungeons and Dragons and like the original, talking about from the Rules Encyclopedia, Rules Cyclopedia. It seems like, well, you could run West Marches with that, or Lamentations of the Flame Princess. A lot of people were looking at that, and we kind of looked at that and were like, that seems pretty cool. I can definitely see a West Marches style game being run using that. There's something about it. There's something about the West Marches that seems like that just the old school kind of gaming runs well. It seems like I really want to play the Dungeon Crawl Classics as well. But the problem was that we said with the West Marches style games, we want character creation to be fast, and that has a character funnel. Now, there may be some way to create. I mean, I'm sure there is a way to. I mean, can't you just create a Dungeon Crawl Classics character without the funnel? I mean, you can't. You should be able to, right? But we would need some. You would need some way to just jump in with a new character and not have to go through a funnel. But one of the things that one of the other games that people had talked about, I think most when people were talking about a West Marches style game, was this Worlds Without Number. So let me take this down and then go over here to the West Marches. Oh, no, to Worlds Without Number. And I was not familiar with this. So let's check out what this is. There's also apparently Stars Without Numbers. Hide sidebar. So this is a role-playing game by Kevin Crawford. World Without Numbers, free version. So I did just download this from Drive Through RPG. So who has played this? So who knows what World Without Numbers is? Does this one work well? So it does seem like its own system. It is its own system. That's what people were saying in the comments, because I was wondering if it's its own system or if it's just about generating a world. It looks like its own system. So we have character creation, the rules of the game, magic and arcane traditions, the world of the latter earth, creating your campaign, creating adventures, creatures of a far age, factions, and major projects. Is there a back cover for us to look at? No. All right. Let's see. What is this? The Tales of the Later Earth. Heroes. Okay, it says Worlds Without Number is a fantasy role-playing game set in the far future of the latter Earth after innumerable eons of human history, alien rule, and unfathomable arcane evolution. This players take up the role of adventurers in this fading age, rising sword and sorcery against the foes of humanity and the obstacles that hinder their own ambitious aims. Many will perish on the spears of bitter rivals, be rent by the talons of monstrous beasts, or fall prey to their own reckless daring. Others, however, may yet live to obtain a name more glorious than kings. Okay, that doesn't tell me a whole lot about... Okay, how does this game play? Worlds Without Number is based on an old-school Renaissance rules chassis, strongly inspired by the classic gaming books of Gary Gygax, Dave Arneson, Tom Moldvay, and Zeb Cook. The books, the roots of the system date back to the very earliest days of the hobby. There are millions of people worldwide who understand the basic outline of the system, and this enormous well of familiarity is one of the main reasons it was chosen as a base. The system in Worlds Without Number has received years of effective use and playtesting in the form of its comparable sci-fi sister game, Stars Without Number. Oh, so Stars Without Number came first? I'm confident that the great majority of readers will find it a perfectly solid, playable, effective framework for their sword and sorcery adventurers. Even so, I understand that a good many readers will have their own preferences in game systems and may have a different rule system in mind for running their campaigns. So this is about supporting the style of gaming rather than a particular system. This game is built from the ground up to support the GM in running a sandbox. Okay, so a sandbox style campaign. So I guess that's why people bring this up when they're talking about the West Marches, one of which is the thrust of action, one where the thrust of the action is entirely dependent upon the ambitions and goals of the players. The tools in this book are built to support this play style no matter what game system is being used. Okay, so maybe both then. Okay, character creation. Let's see if we can... Do we have summary of character creation? Okay, so we do have... Here is a... Oh, it's kind of blurry. But this is a character sheet. So name, player, homeland, background details. So we've got the attributes, which are our... I mean, this is built on old school, so it's all of our Dungeons and Dragons statistics. Hit points... Some of these are difficult to read. I wish this were clear. We've got armor class, weapons, readied items, skills. Okay, but an old school system here. If you've played this, what's the most important for us? What's the most important thing for us to look at here? As far as it goes, is it playing? I saw playing the game. Typically, we go after we take a look at the start and what the character sheet is about the rules of the game. But do we really need to look at? Oh, look, there's a lot of material. I can tell creating your campaign 114 to 222. So there's a lot about creating your campaign in here. Rules of the game. It might be best, I think, to go to creating a campaign. Scenes, turns, especially if it's old school based. Most of us will probably know basically how to play this game. Skill checks. To make a skill check, roll 2d6 and add the most relevant skill level and attribute modifier. Yeah, BGD says, I remember you saying this. Last year, 2022, the Index Card RPG Discord community Discord server ran Elf Marches, an 80-player, 70-session West Marches style fantasy RPG campaign over about 8 months. It was some serious gaming fun. I can completely believe that. Oh, the Elf Marches. So instead of Elfheim, Elf Marches used ICRPG's Master Edition as a rules foundation. So instead, the... yeah, so Elfheim is one of the worlds inside. So Elf Marches, that's pretty clever. The Elf Marches. Yeah, that sounds epic. Let's see. Well, let's take a look at what it says about the world building, because that's when this always comes up. So creating your campaign. For a sandbox game, your campaign is the setting in which your adventure takes place. Okay, yes. Build your backdrop. Plan an overview of creation. Plan your scope. What's the basic type of campaign you want to run? Is it intrigue-based? Okay. Build your backdrop. Start from the topmost global level of your campaign world. You make decisions about a place and assign it qualities and facts. There are 3 levels of backdrop of increasing specificity: world, region, and kingdom. But, a lot of times it seems like with these West Marches games, you don't really know what's out there. And the game masters might not either. So that's kind of starting more local. Assign tags to sites is a process that can happen at multiple levels during the campaign creation. Tags are simply tropes or key ideas that can be mixed or matched to characterize particular noble courts, urban or rural communities, ruins and dungeons, or wilderness areas. By picking 2 tags and synthesizing them, you equip a site with a set of pre-made adventure hooks that you can easily return to later when needed. That's cool. Planning your work. The golden rule of preparation. In all of these pages, there is a single abiding rule that you should follow in preparing your campaign. It is absolutely imperative that you understand it and that you apply it to your own work, or you run the risk of exhausting yourself and your creative powers long before you finish the content you ever need for fun, relaxing night of play. Whenever you're building something, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. Am I having fun building this? If yes, you can keep going. You need to make sure that you cover the material you need for your next adventure session. But if you're having a good time, then it's okay to indulge yourself. If the answer is no or maybe, however, you need to ask yourself a second question: am I going to need this for the next play session? This is kind of like the theory of what's the most I can do versus what's the least I can do, right? What's the most I can possibly do to build out this world? We can always think about that. What's the least we can do? Well, it's kind of like what I need for the next game session immediately, right? Will you need the specific content for your next gaming session? Don't ask yourself if it could be potentially useful or if it's something you'll need in the future. Ask yourself if this piece of work is going to be necessary for what you expect in the very next session of play. If you can't answer yes with confidence, put it down. The world itself. The region. Identify regionally significant gods. I was wondering if this was going to be something to generate regions and worlds. Is that in here? Create 6 nations or groups of importance. The kingdom. Geographic constraints. Well, here we have a table for making a kingdom map. Maybe something like the West Marches takes place in something the size of a kingdom, or maybe a region. I don't know. Ancient farmland, blasted lands, jagged mountains. A new or resharpened mountain range forms a barrier in the region. The mountains are young, tall, and likely cast a substantial rain shadow. Sand desert, volcano. One roll terrain feature details. It can be difficult to add spice to your 6th mountain range. There are only so many ways to enliven a forest, a desert, or a pile of rocks before the creative springs runs dry. As a supplementary tool, you can roll 1 die on each type and reference the tables below to add more detailing and character to a given terrain feature. It's assumed the terrain feature is meant to be a place of adventure and profit, so the table's results are canted toward dangerous, enigmatic places. It's assumed that the bucolic breadbasket regions of your campaign aren't in need of particularly exciting features. That's West March's thinking, right? A suitably inaccessible region can end up becoming a borderland zone, even in the heart of a developed kingdom. Bandit kings, monstrous hordes, and other grist for adventures can thus be placed almost anywhere. So D6, how dangerous is the feature? What use is the feature? Like controlling it has military significance. A major trade route goes through it. What kind of event last happened there? Did I see something about a demon? Maybe I didn't. Some grim and terrible thing was awakened. Well, that could be a demon. How populated is the feature? What antagonists are common there? Optional quirk of the feature. Nation construction. Rogue Thinker says there's always more world building. Maybe there's an app link. Well, there could be. You can always do more world building. But the amount of world building you need, like we talked about that, we're going to do a dedicated world building stream with Doug because Doug was talking about world building. I spoke with Doug about that last table talk because he's interested in world building as well. And of course we are as well. But unfortunately, the amount of information that you need for world building to write a story and even play a game is not near what you think it is. I mean, think about how much world building there was in Star Wars when the original Star Wars was released. It wasn't that much. National themes, social construction, physical appearances. This is what the physical appearances for people, the average member of a society, what they look like. Societal aesthetics, government construction. Okay, so this strikes me a lot like, or this section, it strikes me a lot like the AD&D World Builders Guide, which we did look at. I thought that was a really cool book back in its day. If you really want to go heavy into the world building, that book was pretty good. I thought it was more useful than the Dungeon Builders Guide. The Dungeon Builders Guide had its uses, but on the other hand, a lot of that stuff I could just think of. But if you're running a game like a West Marches game and you don't know what is out there as people progress, I can see how it would be nice to have people rolling, or like if you have the game masters rolling on dedicated tables or whatever, so there's some type of unity to what's actually being created as different game masters, as different game masters run the game, I guess. Okay, so there's a lot on world building, faith and religion, gods, one roll template details. Stray says, I have these charts for solo hex crawls. Now, I want to try that too, because I want to try out Strider mode. We had the idea, we called dinner in a board game, but if we remove the dinner from it, we just have board game. But I would also like to be able to do some RPGs, and it would be nice. I would like to be able to do the RPGs in kind of simple ways as well. So when I'm looking at playingcards.io, I'm also thinking about, hey, if you were to play a particular game, like the One Ring in Strider mode, or any other type of game, any other type of RPG, what type of elements do you need in playingcards.io in order to play that game? Because I would like to be able to stream some RPGs as well. And I think the place to do that is just part of Dinner and a Board Game. Instead of trying to make it a separate like show and title, there's sometimes Dinner and a Board Game RPG edition where we do an RPG. So I've been thinking about loading that up. Like, how do you load up the materials you need for either solo games? I mean, that would be fun. You could probably, you may not be able to randomly generate the stuff, but you may be able to have inside playingcards.io. But you might, the oracles and things like that. We did look at some solo gaming. It's been a while since we've looked at that, and I don't really remember a whole lot of that from the morning grind. But you might be able to integrate that into something like playingcards.io. Ruins, major cities. So I think we got the feeling of what all of this section of this book is. Let's go back to the table of contents. So that was creating your campaign, creating adventures, Duties of the GM, rules in ambiguous situations. Creating combat challenges. Okay, so a lot of Game Master stuff down here. Creatures from far away. Creatures of a far age. Is this your bestiary? Peaceful humans. This says normal human. We joke that we have a measurement here called normal man. What is a normal man? What are they like? Like that was in Rules Cyclopedia, I believe it was. So now we're moving to the more general normal humans. Peaceful human, thug or militia, veteran soldier, skilled veteran, elites or special guards. So what do we got? We got HD, which is probably hit dice, AC, attack modifier. So it looks like we're not so old school. We're going Thaco. It looks like we got positive attack modifiers. Damage is weapon +2. So it looks like we should go back and look at some of the rules. So it looks like we are adjusting damage. We got weapon damage by weapon, but then we're adjusting it. Shock. I don't know what shock is. Move. ML. That might. I'm not sure what ML is. Insta skill. Save. I mean, I generally like that. The blight and its consequences. Monstrous drives. Uncanny powers. Morale checks. Okay, so it doesn't look like there was as many monster stats. Well, here's some. As I thought, bull, pig, flesh, beast, horse, lizard, automatons. Okay. So there's monsters back here. So we do have adjustments though to our, let's take a look at rules of the game then. Yeah, Don, go back. We talked about that earlier. I was showing off HeroQuest in playingcards.io. So go back and rewatch. I showed off what I was building out. So what's important to look at for our distinction of this game and other basic old school RPGs? Saving throws. Adventurers tend to face horrors of innumerable varieties, from the festering poison that smears some deep-dwelling degenerate's bone spear, to the shadow of falling stones from above, to the bite of some devil wizard's hideous sorcery. In order to avoid perishing to such dooms, they can attempt a saving throw. A saving throw is a chance for a hero to avoid some particularly grim outcome. To make a saving throw, the subject rolls d20 and tries to roll equal to or higher than the relevant saving throw score. There are 4 different kinds of saving throws. So this is different. Evasion saves, mental saves, physical saves, and luck saves. Evasion saves are made to dodge hurled perils. So we're rolling d20 and trying to roll equal to or higher. Okay, so that is old school. So your saving throws are going to get smaller. The smaller the saving throw is, the better. You're trying to roll equal to or over it. Evasion saves are made to dodge hurled perils, take cover from explosions, pull back from sudden pits, and face other challenges of nimbleness and reaction speed. Evasion saves for PCs are equal to 16 minus the hero's level. Okay, so it's directly tying it to level, and minus the best of their intelligence or dexterity modifiers. Thus, a third level hero with an intelligence modifier of +1 and a dexterity modifier of -1 with an evasion save of 12. So it's 16 minus 3, 13. Okay, makes sense. Mental saves are those made to resist mind-affecting magic, disbelieve illusions, throw off intangible magical afflictions, and other tests of willpower or force of character. Mental saves for PCs are equal to 16 minus the hero's level and minus the best of their wisdom or charisma attribute modifiers. Of all these different games that we've looked at, I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, there's, first of all, like, which game do you want to play? I mean, we've looked at how many different games in 200 and what episode number is this? 273 different episodes of the Morning Grind. They're all a little different, but the minor differences, some of them are more different than others. But I mean, we've looked at a lot of things that are also modifications of 5e or modifications of the basic D&D or old school D&D. I guess we've come up with our favorites, but once everybody has their favorite. But once we get to a certain point, yes, there are going to be certain things that are a little bit different, the way we calculate something a little bit different. But what does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? I've been thinking about that probably the exact game system in which particular flavor, you probably drive yourself mad trying to come up with what exact flavor of old school D&D or 5e D&D or even another type of system that you really want to play, whether that's index card RPG or whether it's the One Ring, or I mean, what are all these different ones that we've got back here, Cortex or the Against the Dark Master or whatever else. Pick one, and then other things probably become more important. Because I was thinking about this in the context of dinner and a board game when I was playing HeroQuest. And even when I've been playing HeroQuest in general. I mean, of course, there are some things that I would fix about HeroQuest. Like I said, one of the things one of the bigger fixes is there's no time limit on HeroQuest. So that means that sometimes it doesn't matter if you just keep rolling. You can just keep rolling. And that's happened to me in dinner and a board game. That's just the way that HeroQuest is, though. But I think that, okay, that's one of the larger things that could be fixed. And of course, then there's some rule things that need to be cleaned up here or there that are ambiguous and people play in different ways. But that's fine. People could, and I have, put out different ways that we resolve those ambiguities. But then, one of the other things that I talk about is the amount of randomness in the dice rolls when you're like doing combat. And I would probably change up combat, a little bit one way or another. And I talked about the different way that in Enchantress, by the way, because Enchantress was basically my brother and I's revision of the HeroQuest combat system that we used in Enchantress, which is available on ravenkeep.net, by the way, at half off. But, I don't feel that when I'm playing. When I'm sitting there and playing it, when I'm sitting there playing HeroQuest, when I'm sitting there playing it, I don't feel, oh my God, the amount of randomness in the dice roll, it's there. But I don't really think about it all that much. There's a lot of randomness there. I think more about the lack of time limit than I do about, the randomness of the dice. So even if I sit here on an intellectual level and we're like, now, how can we really improve HeroQuest with all the numbers and everything behind it? When I'm in the midst of the game, that's not really what matters. So other things matter more. I'm in the feel of the game. So the way we calculate different kinds of saves, we might think, does this save really make sense? And so we all have a whole plethora of role-playing games. Like, well, I think it would make more sense if it goes this way, or if there was another type of save, or, we calculated it a bit differently. When you're in the midst of the game and the game master has you focused on other things, on actually the feel of the game and what you're doing and who you are and what you're playing, those kinds of things do take a back seat, I found. What do you think about that? Let me know. We'll talk about that. Because I think that's an important thing. Because, we're very, over the past 275 days or 280 days or whatever it's been, because I've missed a few days. Not many. I've missed a few. We've been very rules focused because we've been looking at a bunch of different rules. And the rules, I think, should be there to support the game. But once you get to some level of minutia, well, first of all, the minutia probably is not relevant, but also the distinction between this or that system, we're talking about plus ones, plus twos, probably not really what's important at the gaming table. Mental saves are made to resist mind affecting. I think, did we look at that? Yeah, we looked at mental saves. Physical saves are made to resist poisons, diseases, exhaustion, body transformation, or other taxes on the subject's physical health. Physical saves are for PCs equal to 16 minus the hero's level minus the best of strength or constitution modifiers. Luck saves are for occasions of blind random fortune where no quality of personal strength or cunning can help the hero. The GM might call for a luck save when it's really nothing but sheer good luck that a hero might avoid some danger. Luck saves for a PC are equal to 16 minus the hero's level, unmodified by any attribute. So you get luckier as you go up in level. Note that saving throws are meant to be last-ditch chances to avoid the worst of unusual perils or common dangers. You can't make an evasion saving throw to dodge a sword stroke. That's what the to hit roll is for. It's up to the GM to decide whether a particular danger might allow a saving throw or not. So that throws it back to we've talked about saving throws quite a bit. Like, who should be rolling dice when something happens? And sometimes we are inconsistent. Like with 5e about who should roll dice. My bias tends to be if the player is acting, the character who is acting should be rolling the dice. But on the other hand, some of these player-facing things sound pretty good. But it's when you're mixing them up that sometimes you roll to act. Other times, the person who is being acted upon rolls to resist. And why? Is that intuitive? When was it published? Are you talking about, I don't know. What page am I on? Page 44? Do we have a date on here? 2021. Oh, this is pretty new. So this is published in 2021. Don says, Worlds Without Number did not make a big impact on me, although I do appreciate their approach toward third-party publishers. Shadow Dark has been great to get my 5e players to play a simpler system. Shadow Dark is my winner for 2023. Lady of Pain says, you've helped me learn far more than 50 games. I know that, close to 100. Oh, well, fantastic. That's one of the purposes of the morning grind. Trying to get away from just the games you know, you can turn on the morning grind. We've got a catalog of quite a few now. If you're trying to learn a game, hey, you need to clean the house or something, turn on a morning grind where we take a look at one of these game systems and figure out what's going on. I need to come up with a list of like my top 10. We'll probably, in fact, let me put that on my topic list. I want to do some more discussions too of like some people brought up like of stuff within. I love the discussion shows. Stuff within lore. Let's say I'll put this over here. I need to come up with like a top 10 games that we have talked about on the morning grind that kind of surprised me. Call of Cthulhu, Pathfinder, 2nd edition, Maz Ritter, and Pirate Borg. Pirate Borg was awesome. Pirate Borg was awesome. And so is Maz Ritter. Maz Ritter I think is definitely the surprise for all of these. Don says, I'm looking forward to building my own advanced HeroQuest and Warhammer Quest. Rules for both are free online. I would like to find the original, you say they're free online. I would like to find the original Warhammer Quest. I never played that, but I hear it's good. Now I've got advanced HeroQuest sitting over there. In fact, I've got its miniatures sitting right over here. They are ready to be slap chopped. Put that in front of my face. So that's one of the mercenaries. I've got a bunch of miniatures to still be painted, but I've got the advanced HeroQuest over here. Building out advanced HeroQuest, and these things that would be another complicated one to do. But advanced HeroQuest could be built out in playingcards.io, I bet, as well. And they're not quite as many tokens that you probably have to build out. I'll have to think about that. I've never gotten to play. Every time I try to play advanced HeroQuest with somebody, they balk. Maybe it was send play online. Yeah, Barney says, I'd find it hard to draw up a top 10. They change constantly with me from mood and time. Yeah, well, I agree. But I would say like top 10 games like I would couch my list not necessarily as top 10 best games all time, but top 10 games that I discovered after reading however many. This seems like a YouTube thing. Top 10 games or top 10 favorite games that I discovered after reading 200 RPG books. Which ones, or most surprising, top 10 most surprising RPGs that I discovered after doing this. I think maybe that would be like a 1 year kind of thing. 300 a year would be 365. It's still more than 100 days away, but it seems like something we do. Some type of milestone. There needs to be some type of recap about like most surprising games that you really need to try out. Okay, to make it to hit roll, the attacker rolls a d20 and adds their relevant combat skill, their class attack bonus, and their relevant attribute modifier. If they lack even level 0 skill in the weapon being used, they suffer a -2 penalty. Any other situational modifiers or penalties are also applied to the roll. If the total is equal to or greater than the target's armor class, the attack hits and the damage is rolled. If it's less, it misses. A missed melee attack may still inflict shock damage. Okay, so this is what shock is. Okay, we didn't know what that was. If the total is equal to or greater than the target's armor class, the attack hits and damage is rolled. If less than the attack misses, a missed melee attack may still inflict shock damage if the weapon has a shock rating and the target's armor class is equal to or lower than it. So a missed melee attack may still inflict shock. Did I see something about... Okay, so wait, here is a weapon table. So we've got hand axe damage. So the shock on a hand axe is 1/AC 15. Traits T. Weapon traits. So weapon traits T T is throwable for the hand axe. So shock is 1/AC 15. Does it tell me something about shock here? No. Okay. I think I did see a heading for shock down here. Let's find out what that is. To roll damage, the attacker rolls the weapon's listed damage die and adds their relevant attribute modifier and any bonus from a magical weapon, focus, or other benefit. Okay. A hit in combat doesn't always mean a physical blow landed. Creatures or PCs with many hit points might take several hits before actually going down. In such a case, these successful hits are blows that exhaust the target, tax their luck, force them out of position, etc. So abstract hit points here. Okay, so shock damage. Some melee attacks inflict shock, the inevitable harm that is done when an unarmored target is assailed by something sharp in melee range. Shock for a weapon is listed in points of damage and the maximum AC affected. Thus, shock 2/15 means that 2 points of damage are done to any target with AC 15 or less. Most heavily armored targets are immune to the weapon's shock. That's not how I would use the word shock. When I'm thinking about shock, I'm thinking about things like shock troops, charges, and things like that. So why are we doing this? Assailants add their weapon's attribute modifier to shock, along with any magical bonus to the weapon and any damage bonuses that are explicitly noted as adding to shock. Other damage bonuses do not increase shock. An attack never does less damage on a hit than it would do in shock. Thus, if an attack would normally do 4 points of shock to AC 15 hits a target with AC 13 and rolls a 3 for damage, 4 points are done instead. What is the purpose of that mechanic? To me, it seems like what it must be trying to do, and we've talked about this when we were talking about realism and RPG combat and a bunch of other, like when we were talking about that particular category of discussion. And I agree that it should be pretty easy to hit somebody who is not. Now, in this case, I would say armed. You know, if you've got a sword and another person is standing in the room with you and they have no weapon or any way to defend themselves, they're just standing there like in plain clothes holding nothing. It's pretty easy to hit them with that sword. It becomes harder to hit them with the sword if they also have a sword, or they have some, even if it's not sharp, if they just have like a metal stick, you know, or metal rod, metal pole, it becomes less easy to hit that person with a sword because they're able to defend themselves. So one of the things we said is that oftentimes unarmed, and that can also include unshielded people, should be pretty easy to hit with a melee weapon. But here, it's not so much about whether or not they are holding a sword or not, or another weapon. It's what their armor is. Maybe in this case, that's just because it's AC, it's all rolling it up into one, maybe. Well, I could do a top 10 each year, and that's like top, oh yeah, or especially for then there would be things like that had come to Kickstarter or had just come out. Top 10 from 2023. Yeah, or System Shock. Yeah, System Shock. I think about that too. Well, I hadn't thought about it in a long time, but yeah, Shock, System Shock. When you talk about Shock, you talk about System Shock. I remember that from AD&D. Execution attacks. It sounds like a coup de grace. Common combat actions. Example of combat. Injury, healing, and system strain. What is system strain? Most forms of healing and certain other magic powers add to the target's system strain. System strain is a measure of how much stress the target's body is under and how profoundly it has been taxed by magical energies, hunger, privation, and forced healing acceleration. A character's maximum system strain is equal to their constitution attribute. Thus, if someone with a constitution of 13 could accumulate up to 13 points of... This sounds like System Shock. Could accumulate up to 13 points of system strain. This strain is usually lost at a rate of 1 point for every night of good, refreshing sleep. Healing often adds to a target's system strain, whether as first aid or as the effect of some magical power. If the target is already at its maximum system strain, it can't handle the additional stress and gets no benefit from the effect or attempted healing. So healing adds to the system strain, whether it's first aid or it's the effect of some magical power. If you're already at maximum system strain, it can't handle the additional stress and gets no benefit from the attempted healing. So natural healing, a wounded creature recovers its level or hit dice and lost hit points for every night's rest, assuming they're properly fed and can get decent sleep. At this time, they also lose 1 point of accumulated system strain. Creatures that are frail do not recover hit points this way, nor do they lose system strain. Overland travel. Is there anything else that is of significant importance here? In Worlds Without Number. At least now I've got an idea of what it is. People talked about this one, so would you use this one? So I guess we could take let's go back here. Let's go over here to noise. Let's say oh, I'm not I'm signed out of a bunch of things. I'm signed out of. Let's see. Let's see what people think about what rule system they would now use for some type of West Marches game. So, okay, here we go. So let's put out a poll. Where is all of my... I'm missing the link. This is me. I should be able to put out a... Oh, well, for some reason. Okay, well, which one would you now use? Just put it in the chat. So if you were going to run or play in a West Marches kind of style game, what would you be looking at now? Is this one of the ones that would come up? I'm not sure that it is for me, but is this one of the ones that you would want to try out and do? Or what game would you prefer, system would you prefer to use? I'm still thinking that it's I'm still feeling a certain bias toward D&D Cyclopedia. If you're going old school, I mean, you could just go old school, but you could go like old school essentials if you want kind of the update to the old school. Dungeon Crawl Classics, Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Michael says, if I'm fully armored, I'm armed. Well, yeah, yes. Stray says basic fantasy or AD&D. I hadn't thought about AD&D. It's been a long time since I've just gone to AD&D. AD&D, I mean, AD&D could work. AD&D could work. That would be pretty classic, too. Basic edition. The rules cyclopedia, and you could use it to bring in AD&D converted back. We looked at Dungeon Worlds. We looked at Dungeon World. I don't know. It didn't seem like so that was the powered by the apocalypse type game, right? It seemed like that was not as well received over here. There were some things that we liked about it. We looked at the Apocalypse World. We looked at Dungeon World. That's a very different. It's a different style of game. It's a different style of game. Black Hack Kidney Kid says, I heard the world building tables are great. I would use Black Hack or Maus Ritter. Now, I mean, Maus Ritter would be fun. Black Hack people, I do remember liking Black Hack. And of course, we've looked at a bunch of the different Black Hack and a bunch of different varieties for the types of hacks that we're doing. Black Hack, White Hack, Black Sword Hack. We did go through a bunch of those. BGD is, of course, talking about ICRPG. Character generation is so flexible, intuitive, and quick as generating adventure ideas and prepping for sessions. Lynn says, tried playing an AD&D game a few years back. It was a trip down memory lane for me, but the younger players in the group hated it. All right. So I imagine Dungeon World's a bit hit or miss for a broader group. Good point. Yeah. I think that's the case. Some groups it'll play, the style will be right. Others it won't be. All right. Yes. Brett says, thanks for the great morning grind starting this week off. Yes. All right. So everybody, please do join the Raven Keep Discord. If you're here, please do like and subscribe. I would love to have you. For more, the Rules Cyclopedia and Wilderness Survival. We do have the Wilderness Survival guide. We've got to look at Shadows of the Demon Lord. That's still on the list here. So we need to look at Shadows of the Demon Lord. So that one's on the list over here. All right, everybody. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I'm going to sit here and do some more admin stuff and trying to get that going. But I had a great time with you. Great discussions. I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we also have Table Talk. James Bacon is going to be talking to Doug about the Heroine's Labyrinth. So we got 2 streams tomorrow. Tomorrow for the morning grind, I'll see you at 9:30 a.m. Central. In the meantime, everybody be creative, be constructive, and grind on. Later, everybody.